Not sure if I did a video on this, but a theory on the mysterious letters and the mystery and thoughts on Quranic interpolations. My theory on the mysterious letters, and most famously Alif Lam Mim, actually prove the Bible more than the Quran. The Quran confuses biblical narratives with interpolations, which are key to understanding the purpose, message, and the language of the Quran. All one has to do is simply look at the Quran from face value without digging too deep, and soon enough the book proves once again that it can only borrow and pervert God's true word, the Bible. I wish to do another video on many observations which I found over the past 3 years in trying to keep up with the large influx of data which scholars much more talented and capable than I have provided. Here's just a teaser. My theory, as simple as it may be, is that the mysterious letters, so-called, is no more than a Syriac psalmody liturgical tradition from the Orthodox Church in the East. The letters Alif, Lam, Mim, for example, call out in the various verses or stanzas in the specific acrostic psalms from which the liturgy and praise hymn for that particular feast day, Sunday or night service, or Vesper. So with the acrostic psalms, there does seem to be a uniformity where this Alif, Lam, Mim formula is used, but this just proves the uniformity, harmony, beauty, and divine nature of God's true word, the Bible, through the prophetic, poetic prose that was given to David as prophet, priest, king, poet, and worshiper. For example, in Psalm 34, we see the following: Aleph, verse 1, I will praise you, O Yahweh. Next, Lam, verse 11, why do you stand far off, Yahweh? Finally, Mim, verse 12. All of these are in series of 3. The first 3 verses begin with Aleph, the next 3 with Beit, and so on. And this is also interesting when it comes to the Arabic root word also being its origin in 3 letters. Again, an invitation of praise to Yahweh. First, it is an invocation of praise to Yahweh. Second, invitation to praise him. And third, an invitation to praise him using the same formula in Psalm 37. Different psalm, but same formula. We see that in all 3 instances within the acrostic method that there is an instruction on how to praise Yahweh. Again, we see this in Psalm 111, where Aleph shows the simple yet profound praise of Yahweh. The Lam shows the purpose of the praise. And finally, we see something different in the declarative state of God's majestic attributes. In Psalm 112, we see something similar, but with a little more nuance. First, the praise of Yahweh. Next, the declarative state of the righteous. And then finally, the declarative status of the righteous. Now, in Psalm 119, the most famous acrostic hymn, we see another rule. We see that the first verses are similar to Matthew 5 in the Beatitudes, the blessing of God's people. Next, again, in the following 8 verses corresponding with the letter Lam, we see all the aforementioned rules of harmony and poetic prose. Finally, we see a grand crescendo ending with verse 104, through thy precepts I get understanding, and I hate every false way. So concluding, there is an invocation of Yahweh, the reason why we must praise him, the invitation and or instruction, and sometimes both, for God's people to draw near to worship him. All of this in a very rabbinic and tradition, rooted in liturgy, literary and Hebraic poetic tradition, proving that the Quran is attempting to plagiarize something in order to masquerade as a viable book, or a commentary, or some kind of targum, as the name surah alludes to. Some type of psalms, Navium, and whatever other corrupted, plagiarized, interpolated, and confused narrative and rhetoric it can come up with. It shows that there was indeed a very nuanced rabbinical tradition, and this might have made its way into the Arabic.